Konnichiwa, I'm Keukisi. I've been working on car engines, motorcycle engines and outboard motors all my life, and today I'm going to show you step by step how to remove, clean and reinstall the carburetor on a Tohatsu 9.8 engine. Some of the main reasons you might need to be doing this are basic maintenance, you've got water in your fuel tank, rough idling, poor engine performance or engine stalling. If you find it useful, please give it a thumb up and leave me a comment in the comment section saying which country you're watching it from. Let's get to it. First, remove the intake manifold breather hose. Then, unclip and remove the choke rod. After that, you need to remove the throttle rod. Twist and pull it to unclip it. The carburetor is held on by just 2 bolts, this one and one more which is tucked behind the air silencer at the back here. Use a wrench extension with a short socket to remove the bolts. Holding the carburetor in place, remove the air silencer, the carburetor, the insulator and gaskets and the fuel hose. First we need to undo the 4 screws on each corner to get inside the carburetor. This carburetor has already been cleaned, so I won't be spraying carburetor cleaner seeing as I'm inside and I don't want to stink out the house. This is what a clean carburetor should look like. As you can see, there is no debris, sludge or dry residue. Use carburetor cleaner and a soft nylon brush to clean inside the float bowl. Next, we need to remove a float. It's held in by 1 screw. Remove a float and check the float and the float pin for dirt and damage. Clean if necessary. Next, check and clean the float needle. It should be pointy and look like this. If it's damaged, replace it. Next we're going to remove the main jet with a flathead screwdriver. Check for blockages and clean if necessary with a carburetor brush or a piece of wire. Next we need to remove the main nozzle. If it doesn't fall out, push it gently from the inside using a screwdriver. Okay, I'm going to use a pair of tweezers to lift it out gently. Here it is. This is the main nozzle. Once again, check for blockages and that you can see light through it. If you need to clean out the holes and don't have any wire at home, you can use the twisty wire that you get when you buy a loaf of bread. This fits perfectly through the main nozzle holes. Just poke it through and make sure each hole isn't blocked. Next, give everything a good spray with carburetor cleaner. Reinsert the main nozzle, paying attention to the direction. Drop it in and give it a little push to seat it properly. According to the service manual, the main jet O-ring should be replaced every time you remove it. Reinsert the main jet and snug it down all the way to the bottom. It doesn't need to be turned a certain amount of turns. The carburetor is made of soft alloy, so be careful not to over tighten it. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's so much stuff on this channel. We've got exciting fishing videos, maintenance videos, reviews and Japanese tackle fishing shop tours. Be sure to check it out. Let's get back to it. Next we're going to remove an idle jet. First remove a cap, and then you get access to the idle jet. This idle jet is non-adjustable. It's just screwed in all the way to the bottom, so you don't need to count the number of turns. This one should drop straight out. Here it is. So make sure none of the holes are blocked and blast it with carburetor cleaner. Once again, using a piece of wire, poke through all the holes, making sure they're not blocked, until you can see light coming through the other side. Before replacing the nozzle, blast the passage with carburetor cleaner and drop the nozzle back in. Tighten it down all the way to the bottom, taking care not to over tighten it and strip the threads. Then reinsert the idle jet cap. Remember, this one doesn't have an O-ring on it. Now we've cleaned all the jets and nozzles, clean inside the carburetor, making sure there's no debris, sludge or dried water deposits inside. Once that's done, clear around the air intake and the throttle valve, making sure to remove all carbon deposits. Pay attention especially to this area where there are some tiny passages. Make sure it's clean and that there is no debris or carbon buildup. Next we're going to reinstall the float. Make sure that the float pin is inserted and then attach the float needle to the underside of the float. As you can see, there is a groove cut out that the needle fits into. Like this. Then place the needle into the carburetor. Align the pin to the groove and then tighten down the screw that holds the float in place. Once again, be careful not to over tighten it. Just fit it snugly. The float should move freely and not feel stiff. As you can see, it moves around and has a little spring to it. This is the correct position for the float. Next we're going to reinstall the float bowl cover. Make sure that the gasket is fitted correctly into the grooves. You should replace this gasket every time, but seeing as this one looks in good condition, I won't be replacing it this time. If you don't replace it, make sure to check for fuel leaks once the carburetor is attached to the engine and it's running. Okay, align the cover to the carburetor. It can only go on in one direction, and tighten it down with the 4 screws. When tightening the screws, be sure to tighten them in a crisscross fashion from corner to corner. This ensures that it's seated correctly and evenly all the way round. Next we're going to remove the carburetor cover. It's held on by 2 screws. Remove the cover and the gasket to gain access to the upper passages. On these carburetors, there's a tamper-proof cap right here which prevents access to the air-fuel mixture screw. There are some really small passages in the top here. Make sure to give everything a good blast with carburetor cleaner and make sure there's no debris or sludge or dried up water stains. Finally, using a piece of wire, poke it through all the small passages and make sure that there are no blockages. The service manual states that the carburetor gasket should be replaced every time as well. This is my third time dismantling the carburetor, so this time I'll replace it. This is what the old one looks like compared to the new one. Make sure that it's lined up correctly and that it's not blocking any of the carburetor passages. And then replace the carburetor cover and tighten down the 2 screws holding it in place. Once again, make sure that you don't over tighten the screws. That's a carburetor cleaned. An additional step is, if you have an air compressor at home, to blast out all the passages with compressed air after you've cleaned it with carburetor cleaner. This ensures that if there's any debris blocking the passages, it gets completely blown out. I did also use compressed air last time, but it's late at night this time and I don't want to disturb the neighbours with the air compressor running. Once the 2 screws are tightened, everything's done, the carburetor is cleaned and it's ready to be reattached to the engine and checked. These 2 gaskets sit either side of the insulator that connects the carburetor to the inlet manifold. They need to be replaced each time to maintain a tight seal and avoid vacuum leaks. In case you didn't realise, this is an air silencer, not an air filter. There's actually no filter inside it. Seeing as you're out to sea, in moist conditions, there's no dust that can get inside and block the engine. This is the correct order that everything goes on. First, attach the carburetor gasket. Next, the carburetor insulator. Either way is okay. And finally, the last carburetor gasket. It should look like this. Next, attach the fuel hose. It's easier to do this before attaching the carburetor. Once that's done, make sure the clip's in place and align the bolts from the carburetor to the inlet manifold. Take your time and make sure the bolts are passing through the gaskets and the insulator before they attach to the inlet manifold. As you can see here, the gasket's fallen out of place, so get it back into position and then get that bolt passed through correctly before tightening. An important tip here is to move from bolt to bolt while tightening to ensure a snug and even fit. Take care not to over tighten these bolts, otherwise you could end up snapping off the wings on the inlet manifold. Next, we're going to reinstall the choke rod. Okay, that's this one here. Just insert it in a hole and then clip onto the rod. That's done. Next is the throttle rod. Get it over the knob and while twisting, just snap it into place. Finally, check that the throttle rod and the choke rod are snapped into place and moving freely. And then we reinstall the intake manifold breather hose into the top of the air silencer box. With everything reinstalled correctly, it should look like this. The moment of truth. Time to start it and check that everything's running smoothly. check for vacuum leaks, I'm going to spray carburetor cleaner where the carburetor joins onto the inlet manifold. If there are any leaks, you should hear a variation in the engine RPMs. As you can see, I'm spraying it all around and the sound of the engine isn't changing. That means that we've got no leaks and everything is connected snugly, evenly and correctly. Okay everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and it helped you out. It's tricky figuring out these problems sometimes, but with a bit of common sense and videos like this, it's easy to sort it out and not have to take it to a shop and pay expensive garage fees. Also, please be sure to check out the rest of the channel. It's not just maintenance videos. As I said before, we've got exciting fishing videos from my inflatable boat in Japan, catching all sorts of fish. We've got Japanese tackle review and full Japanese fishing show and tackle shop tours being updated all the time. Tight lines.